What if everything you've been told about human history is a carefully constructed lie? What if the civilizations we call primitive possessed knowledge that makes our modern technology look like children's toys? Tonight, we're going to explore the forbidden archaeology that mainstream science desperately wants to keep buried. Deep beneath the Egyptian desert, far from the tourist traps and academic expeditions, lies evidence that could shatter our understanding of human civilization. The precision of the Great Pyramid isn't just impressive, it's impossible. We're told it was built with copper tools and ramps, yet the mathematical precision embedded in its structure encodes the speed of light, the golden ratio, and the exact circumference of Earth. How did ancient Egyptians, supposedly without advanced mathematics, embed these cosmic constants into stone with an accuracy that wouldn't be achieved again until the space age? But that's just the beginning. The granite blocks in the king's chamber aren't just heavy, they're precisely cut to tolerances that modern machinery struggles to achieve. The acoustic properties of the chamber create resonant frequencies that match the human heartbeat and brainwave patterns. Was this architectural marvel designed as a tomb, or was it something far more sophisticated, something that tapped into frequencies and energies we're only beginning to understand? Travel to South America, and the mystery deepens. At Pumapunku in Bolivia, you'll find stone blocks cut with such precision that not even a knife blade can slip between them. These aren't rough stone foundations, they're geometrically perfect, interlocking pieces that would challenge our best engineers today. The site sits at an altitude where the thin air makes physical labor nearly impossible. Yet somehow, 2,000-ton blocks were transported from quarries hundreds of miles away. The official explanation? Ancient people with primitive tools accomplished feats that would require our most advanced construction technology. But here's where it gets truly unsettling. The cutting patterns on these stones show evidence of technologies that didn't officially exist until the 20th century. Core drilling marks, perfectly straight cuts through the hardest granite, and smooth surfaces that appear to have been melted rather than carved. When modern researchers attempted to replicate these techniques using the tools supposedly available to ancient civilizations, they failed completely, every single time. The cover-up isn't just about hiding advanced ancient technology, it's about hiding who possessed it. Across every continent, indigenous legends speak of the same phenomenon. Beings who came from the stars, who possessed incredible knowledge, and who helped shape human civilization before mysteriously disappearing. These aren't isolated myths. They're consistent accounts spanning cultures that had no contact with each other. The Sumerian tablets, the Sanskrit texts, the Mayan codices, the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories, they all describe the same visitors, the same advanced knowledge, the same sudden departure. Consider the Nazca lines in Peru. These massive geoglyphs stretch across the desert, invisible from ground level but perfectly clear from the air. They were created by a civilization that supposedly never developed flight, yet they can only be properly viewed from hundreds of feet above the earth. The precision of these lines rivals modern surveying techniques. Some stretch for miles in perfectly straight lines across mountainous terrain, a feat that would require sophisticated planning and measurement tools that didn't officially exist for another 1,000 years. But the most compelling evidence lies in the archaeological finds that never make it to museums. Deep underground, beneath layers of sediment that predate accepted human civilization, researchers have discovered artifacts that defy explanation. Metal objects that show no signs of corrosion after thousands of years. Crystalline structures that emit electromagnetic fields. Stone tablets covered in mathematical equations that wouldn't be rediscovered until the modern era. These discoveries are systematically suppressed, buried in academic bureaucracy, or dismissed as hoaxes by institutions that claim to value truth above all else. Why? Because they threaten a carefully maintained narrative about human development, a narrative that serves those who profit from keeping humanity in the dark about its true potential. The ancient Vedic texts of India describe flying machines called vimanas, complete with technical specifications for their construction and operation. These aren't vague mythological references, they're detailed engineering manuals, describing propulsion systems based on mercury vortex engines and electromagnetic fields. Modern attempts to build these devices using ancient specifications have produced working prototypes that demonstrate principles of flight that weren't officially discovered until the 20th century. In the Amazon rainforest, satellite imagery has revealed vast geometric patterns beneath the jungle canopy. These aren't natural formations, they're precisely engineered earthworks that cover hundreds of square miles. The patterns are so large and so regular that they could only have been planned and executed with aerial surveillance technology. Yet they predate any known civilization capable of such massive undertakings. The implications are staggering. Either our timeline of human development is completely wrong, or we're not the first advanced civilization to inhabit this planet. The cover-up extends beyond archaeology into the realm of suppressed physics. Ancient cultures possessed knowledge of energy manipulation that we're only beginning to rediscover. The positioning of megalithic sites around the world follows patterns that correspond to the planet's electromagnetic field lines. These weren't random construction choices. They were deliberate placements designed to harness natural energy flows that modern science barely acknowledges exist. Consider the worldwide flood myths. Every culture on Earth has stories of a great deluge that destroyed an advanced civilization. These aren't variations of a single story spread through cultural contact. They're independent accounts of the same catastrophic event. Geological evidence supports the reality of massive floods that occurred at the end of the last ice age. Floods that would have wiped out coastal civilizations around the globe. What if these myths aren't describing primitive societies devastated by natural disaster, but advanced civilizations that possess technologies we can barely imagine? The megalithic structures that survived these catastrophes weren't primitive monuments. They were carefully positioned markers, designed to preserve knowledge for future generations. The astronomical alignments aren't coincidental. They're encoding systems, preserving mathematical and cosmological knowledge in stone. The builders knew these structures would outlast any written records, any digital storage systems, any ephemeral human institutions. They built them to last for exactly this reason. But the most disturbing aspect of this cover-up isn't what's being hidden. It's why it's being hidden. The suppression of this knowledge serves a specific agenda, maintaining the illusion that humanity is primitive, that we need guidance from authorities, that we're incapable of achieving greatness without their institutions. The truth is that human beings possessed incredible capabilities in the distant past, capabilities that were systematically suppressed and forgotten. The ancient mystery schools preserved fragments of this knowledge, hidden in symbols and rituals that appear meaningless to outsiders but contain profound scientific and spiritual truths. These weren't religious ceremonies, they were educational programs, designed to gradually reveal the true nature of reality to those ready to understand it. The knowledge was hidden not out of elitism, but out of necessity. Previous civilizations that possessed this knowledge openly were destroyed by those who feared its implications. Today, we're seeing the early stages of rediscovery. Quantum physics is beginning to confirm what ancient texts described thousands of years ago, that consciousness and reality are intimately connected, that matter and energy are different expressions of the same fundamental force, that the universe operates according to principles that transcend our current understanding of physics. The ancient knowledge isn't mystical nonsense, it's advanced science, preserved in symbolic form until humanity was ready to understand it again. The evidence is overwhelming, but it requires courage to accept. It means acknowledging that everything we've been taught about human history is incomplete at best, deliberately deceptive at worst. It means recognizing that our ancestors weren't primitive savages who gradually evolved into modern sophistication, but survivors of advanced civilizations who preserved what they could of their knowledge through dark ages of forgetting. The implications extend far beyond archaeology and ancient history. If human civilizations have risen and fallen before, if advanced knowledge has been lost and rediscovered repeatedly throughout history, then we're not unique. We're not the pinnacle of human achievement. We're simply the latest iteration in a cycle that has repeated many times before. This perspective changes everything. Our understanding of human potential, our relationship with technology, our responsibility to future generations. The question isn't whether this knowledge exists, the evidence is undeniable once you know where to look. The question is whether we'll have the courage to reclaim our true heritage, to acknowledge the sophisticated civilizations that came before us, and to learn from their achievements and their mistakes. The answers are out there, waiting for those brave enough to seek them. But be warned, once you see the truth behind the carefully constructed narrative of human history, there's no going back to comfortable ignorance. The time for revelation is approaching. The cycles of history are turning once again, and the knowledge that was hidden for millennia is beginning to surface. Those who control the narrative of human development are losing their grip on the truth. The evidence is becoming too overwhelming to suppress, too obvious to deny. The question is, will you be among those who help usher in this new age of understanding, Or will you remain trapped in the illusion of primitive humanity struggling towards civilization? The choice is yours, but choose quickly. The window of opportunity is narrowing, and those who profit from human ignorance will not surrender their control without a fight. The truth about our past is the key to our future, and it's time to reclaim what rightfully belongs to all of humanity.